contrast, I guess, with the recent letter that John Tortorella wrote to season ticket holders that basically says, we know it's not going great, but please stick with us. We're going to find it here. Like, it feels like a pretty mewling. I don't know. How
desperate.
How do you feel about a letter to the season ticket holders?
Well, listen, I'll tell you one thing. All right? I like the job that Torts has done in terms of getting the players to be accountable. However they think they do that, whether it's his old brand of being a bully. So here's one thing I'll tell you guys. That letter could not come from Chuck Fletcher. There's no way.
Okay.
Like, absolutely. There's no way that he could have sent that letter out and the fans, again, said, oh, great, this is where it had to come from Torts because he's the one that's really, I think, been the integral part of trying to get in guys' wheelhouses, whether you're young, whether you're older. Here's the other thing, too. I think it's fair. And, guys, we've talked through the years, the last couple of years, and things have been really bad. Last year, my issue with this team was its effort that I saw on the ice. It was pathetic. It was a disgrace to watch from a professional standpoint. Guys, literally, they could have gone in the corner with a dozen eggs and came out every time with every egg intact. That's what it was. That's no compete. So Torts this year, and I don't care about fighting. I just want you to compete in the corners in front of the net and try to win a battle because that helps your team. This year, we've seen that. We saw a competitive game last night against the Islanders and a 2-1 loss. Here's the one thing, and I think Torts put it together. He's going to be here for 4 years. He ain't going anywhere. He's held guys accountable. He's made the team more interesting to watch. The other thing in the city of Philadelphia right now, too, guys, this city in and of itself has gone through an amazing amount of success with other sports teams of late. The Eagles going to the Super Bowl, maybe one of the best regular season teams ever. I think they're going to win the game. The Phillies with a miraculous run. Major League Soccer going to the final game and losing in overtime. There's been a lot of good things that have gone on in sports in the city. The 76ers, one of the hottest teams in the league. The Flyers are at the low end of that cycle right now. And I think Torts is saying, bear with us. It ain't going to happen tomorrow. It's not happening the next day. But we're trying to build something, and we're hoping that you're paying attention to what we're doing. That being said, I'm not making excuses for the personnel on the ice. Yes, they work harder. They still need players in here, like playmaking players, that difference makers that can make an impact on a hockey game. They're not there yet, but they're at least rebuilding a culture of what once was with hard work. Yeah, some bruisers that maybe you don't see as much on other teams with the talent level they have, but they're trying to put an impact back on the city. And I think the biggest part right now, Nick, Kyper was saying, was that they have to rebuild the relationship with the city. And I think that they've really made some significant strides this year with an attitude change and a culture, a return to culture that was once here that was not represented in the last 3 or 4 years, to be quite honest with you.
The one thing the other thing is I'm not as surprised, Chris, in terms of a letter like that, but just the timing of the letter. Really, the week of the Super Bowl with your local team playing a huge game on Sunday. This, to me, just reeks of an organization that is either desperate or really, really scared about losing a fan base.
Yeah, I think. Well, certainly they want to get back to trying to get people in, and I've told them. Listen, I've been back in the office over there, and I've told them pretty frankly, you've got there's more pain coming here, and Torch knows that. If you're a Flyer and you're being told, well, this is another year or two build, you're just being lied to. You're not being told the truth. And I've told the higher, the business side, this is a process. And again, and I'm going to be honest with you, finishing between 17th and 25th in the standings does not help this franchise at all. That being said, you can't ask guys to go in the tank. Nobody's ever going to do that. But you're right. I mean, it's an odd timing, but it comes after the All-Star break. It's the second half of the season. And I believe it or not, guys, that's something Torts would want to do. I just think there's been so much successes. I just think he wants to make sure, and maybe there is part of him saying, hey, we need to make sure people still realize that the Philadelphia Flyers are alive and well, and that there will be a corner to turn at some point where they'll be relevant again and somebody else will fall. And that's kind of, unfortunately, though, it's been going on since that knockout in the playoffs of 2020, and they're trying to find a beacon of hope, an array of light somewhere to shine on this team because, they've had misses in the draft. The Nolan Patrick thing, who knows if that could have been a better thing for the Flyers, made them better up the middle. There's a lot of what-ifs, a lot of contracts that are here that they don't want here. There's injured guys. They have long-term left. So that's going to be one of the things that they're going to have to do. And I think they realize they're going to have to salary dump and they're going to have to change a lot of the things. But I think what Torts is saying, guys, he's got to clean up the culture. And I think he's gotten a little bit of that from some of the brass, is saying, hey, we need a return to what semblance of what was that represents this city. And we've not seen that of late. So I think that was part of the messaging for me, was really not so much to a national audience, to the immediate fans here in the city of Philadelphia, that I think were growing tired of what they were seeing.